In this video, we will take a look at the division of polynomials. In primary school, we have learned the division of integers. For example, when we have 826 divided by 2, we can perform the long division in this way. First of all, we know that 2 times 4 is equal to 8. And then what remains will be 26. And then we know that 2 times 1 is equal to 2. And then what remains is 6. And finally, we know that 2 times 3 is equal to 6. And therefore, the result of this division is 413. In secondary school, we're going to learn the division of polynomials. For example, when we have 8x to the power 3 plus 2x squared minus 6x divided by 2x, we can still perform the long division in this way. First of all, we know that for 2x times 4x squared, we will end up with exactly 8x to the power 3. That means the first term in this polynomial. Therefore, after subtracting these two polynomials, what remains will be 2x squared minus 6x. And now I focus on this 2x squared, and I know that when 2x is multiplied by x, it will exactly be 2x squared. And then after subtracting these two polynomials, we will have minus 6x. And then finally, I should know that after multiplying this by minus 3, I should end up with minus 6. And now this division is complete. In mathematics, we have these terms related to the process of division. We have the concept called dividend, we have divisor, we have quotient, and remainder. The dividend refers to 8 to 6 in this example, and 8x to the power 3 plus 2x squared minus 6x in this example. And the divisor refers to 2 in this example, and 2x in this example. And the quotient means the result of division. That means the quotient refers to 413 in this example, and the quotient refers to 4x squared plus x minus 3 in this example. And the remainder means the remaining value after all the subtractions. That means in the first example, the remainder is equal to 0. And in the second example, the remainder is also equal to 0. Now let's take a look at this example, 3x squared plus 7x plus 5 divided by x plus 2, and see how we can find out the quotient and the remainder in this division. First of all, we focus on the first term of the dividend, 3x squared. And then we should multiply a polynomial to x plus 2 so that it starts with 3x squared. And we should know that we should multiply this by 3x. 3x times x plus 2 is 3x squared plus 6x. And now after subtracting these two polynomials, this term 3x squared will be cancelled, and what remains will be x plus 5. And then now we focus on this term x, and we should know that after multiplying x plus 2 by 1, it should start with the term x, so that after subtraction this x will be gone. And now we should stop here because the degree here is smaller than the divisor x plus 2, and we cannot go on any further in this division. And therefore we conclude that 3x plus 1 is the quotient, and 3 is the remainder. Now let's take a look at this example, minus x squared minus 5x plus x to the power 3 plus 7 divided by x minus 1. In order to perform the long division to get the quotient and the remainder, we should first of all arrange this polynomial in the descending powers of x. That means we should write down the terms from the largest degree to the smallest one. That means we should write down as x to the power 3 minus x squared minus 5x plus 7. We arrange the terms so that the largest degree comes first and the smallest degree comes last. And then we have x minus 1 as the divisor. And then first of all, we focus on x to the power 3 and x, and we should know that after multiplying this polynomial by x squared, we should end up with a polynomial which starts with x to the power 3, like this. Therefore, after subtraction, the first term x to the power 3 will disappear. And here, luckily, the second term also disappear, and what remains will only be minus 5x plus 7. And now we should know that we should multiply x minus 1 by minus 5 so that it starts with minus 5. And that's minus 5x plus 5. And after subtraction, it will then be 2. And therefore, as we can see, the quotient is x squared minus 5, and the remainder is 2. Afterwards, let's take a look at this special example, 9x to the power 3 minus 4x minus 1 divided by 3x plus 1. When we perform the long division in this example, we need to be careful that the x squared term is missing. We have the x to the power 3 term, the x term, but not the x squared term. In this case, we should fill in the x squared term by writing down the zero coefficient, like this. And the divisor is 3x plus 1. And now we can perform the long division. First of all, we focus on 9x to the power 3 here and 3x here. And we should know that after multiplying 3x squared to 3x, we should end up with the term 9x to the power 3. So first of all, we multiply these two polynomials, and then we can get 9x to the power 3 plus 3x squared. And then we perform the subtraction. 0 subtract 3 will be minus 3. And then we know that we should multiply 3x by minus x so that it will end up as minus 3x squared. So we have minus 3x squared and then minus x. Now when we perform subtraction here, we need to be careful that we have minus 4x here and minus x here. Minus 4 minus minus 1 will be minus 4 plus 1. Therefore, we have minus 3x here. And finally, we should multiply 3x plus 1 by minus 1. And now it becomes minus 3x minus 1. And we should know that the remainder is 0 in this example. Therefore, we can conclude that the quotient in this division is 3x squared minus x minus 1. Finally, let's take a look at this complicated example and see how we can find out the quotient and the remainder in this division. When we perform the long division, first of all, we should arrange the terms in descending powers of x. And here we should write down x to the power 3 first and then minus x squared. Here the x term is missing, and therefore we should fill in this term by writing down plus 0x. And finally plus 2. For the divisor, we should do the same. That means we should arrange this in descending powers of x. So we start with x squared, and then the x term is missing. We have to fill in as well. And now we can perform the long division as usual. First of all, we know that after multiplying this divisor by x, it should start with x to the power 3, like this. And then we can subtract these two polynomials. Okay, minus x squared minus 0x squared will be minus x squared. And then 0x minus x will be minus x plus 2. And then we should multiply minus 1 to the divisor so that it starts with minus x squared. And after subtracting these two polynomials, minus x minus 0x will then be minus x, and then plus 2 minus minus 1 would then be plus 3. And now we can conclude that, okay, this is the remainder because we cannot perform the long division any further. As the degree here is 1, that means the power is at most 1. And the degree here is 2, that means the power is at most 2. In other words, when the degree here is smaller than the degree of the divisor, we should stop. We cannot go any further. And this is the quotient. And therefore we can conclude that the quotient is x minus 1. And the remainder is minus x plus 3 in this case.